You're not losing power because you're weak, you're losing it because you're too available. Want to be respected, even feared? Then stop being everywhere. The less they see you, the more they want you. Let me show you why silence is your greatest weapon.
Power isn't something you grab out of nowhere, it's something you build over time, quietly, and often when no one's watching. One of the smartest yet most underrated ways to build that kind of power is by not always being available. When you're always around, always responding, always saying yes, people start to expect it. You become predictable, replaceable, even invisible. But when you pull back a little, become more selective about who gets your time and attention, people notice. You gain power not because you speak louder, but because your silence starts to mean something. In today's world, where everyone's glued to their phones and expects instant replies, your absence can actually become your biggest strength. This isn't about avoiding people, it's about being intentional. Powerful people understand that stepping back sometimes makes their presence more valuable. Here's the thing, you don't have to be rude, you don't have to shut people out, but you do have to stop being everywhere all the time. Constant availability might seem generous, but over time, it chips away at how others see you. You become someone who's always just there, and that lowers your perceived value. It starts with small things, a quick reply when you were busy, agreeing to something you didn't want to do, saying yes when you meant no. Little by little, you teach people that your time doesn't need to be respected. But here's the truth, power is all about perception. You don't have to be the smartest or the strongest. If people believe you are, that's what gives you the upper hand. But if you make yourself available like everyone else, people will treat you like everyone else. Powerful people understand this. They don't always say yes. They take their time. They don't show up just because someone expects them to. And it's not because they're being difficult, it's because they're being strategic. When you're always around, your presence loses its spark. It becomes background noise. People value what's rare and hard to get, not what's always right there. The easier you are to reach, the less effort people put in. And once they stop trying, they start caring less. When that happens, you're not admired or respected, you're just tolerated. And honestly, being tolerated is worse than being disliked, because at least dislike means you still matter. Tolerance is when people stop seeing you at all. So ask yourself this, do people reach out to you because they truly value you or because they know you'll always respond? Do they include you because they respect your time or because they assume you've got nothing else going on? Constant availability creates the illusion that you have no boundaries, that you're always open, and that can start to look like desperation. But you want to be the kind of person whose time feels valuable, someone who walks into a room and changes the mood, not because they said something loud or dramatic, but because people haven't seen them in a while. When you're not always present, people begin to anticipate you. That anticipation creates value, and value leads to power. But I'll be real with you. When you first pull back, people might get confused. They'll wonder if you're upset. They'll think you're being cold. And in a way, you are. But that's not a bad thing. You've become more careful with your energy. You've stopped giving it away for free. You don't have to disappear completely. Just be intentional. Say no when you want to. Take your time responding when something isn't urgent. Don't let people treat you like they have access to you 24/7. And here's the key part. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't have to justify your distance. Let people wonder, let them talk, let them adjust. That's part of the power. You become someone they think about, someone they can't quite figure out. And that mystery, it makes you more powerful than any speech or attention grab ever could. So yeah, step back, not because you're giving up, but because you're leveling up. And not to hide, but to rise above, because when you're not always around, people have to look for you. And when they look for you, they start to value you. You might think you're just being nice, just trying to help. But really, you might be giving too much of yourself away. One favor turns into another. One reply becomes an expectation. One, "I'm always here if you need me," becomes a trap you accidentally set for yourself. So protect your time, guard your energy, and let your absence do the talking. Here's the truth. The moment you make yourself easily accessible to everyone, you are no longer valued by anyone. You become a public resource, a utility, and nothing about a utility is respected. Machiavelli knew this. Power is not just what you possess, it's what you withhold. It's what you force people to earn from you. because only what is earned is ever truly respected. Let me break this down for you. If people can text you at midnight and you respond in 30 seconds, if someone needs your time and you instantly rearrange your schedule to accommodate them, if you're always the one saying, "Sure, I'll help," without considering your own priorities, you're training people to take you for granted. You're teaching them that your time has no value. And once that lesson sinks in, it's hard to undo. If you're always the one checking in, always showing up, always available, then you're not powerful, you're just predictable. And when people can predict you, they stop paying attention. Think about it. Would you treasure something you could find on every street corner? Would you respect a king who has to beg to be noticed? Would you fear a warrior who never leaves the battlefield, who's always around, too eager to prove something? Probably not. Power doesn't keep announcing itself. It shows up when it wants to. And that rarity is what makes it feel powerful. If you want to be admired, stop trying so hard to always be present. Stop giving your time to people who wouldn't do the same for you. Stop trying to fill every silence by being there. Because if people always know exactly where to find you, they stop looking. And if they stop looking, they stop valuing. That's what too much availability does. It kills the chase, it takes away curiosity, and that curiosity is what creates tension. And tension, that's the root of respect. Imagine Machiavelli whispering this in your ear. A leader who's too easy to reach is a leader people forget. You don't gain respect by being everywhere all the time. You gain it by being rare, by being a bit mysterious. But here's the truth, it's scary to do that. You're probably afraid they'll leave if you don't show up all the time, that they'll think you don't care, that they'll replace you. Let them. Let the ones who can't handle your silence walk away, because the ones who stick around, they respect the space. They see your time as valuable. They don't see you as a tool or a backup plan. They see you as a force. And here's something you really need to understand. The more people have access to you, the more they take you for granted. When someone becomes too familiar, we stop seeing their worth. Too much presence can actually make people lose respect for you. You can still be kind, but on your terms. You can still be generous, but only with those who've earned it. You can still care, but not for everyone who asks. That's not being mean. That's being disciplined. That's the line between being someone useful and being someone used. So start filtering. Not everyone deserves your time. Not everyone gets your energy. Not everyone should have full access to your thoughts. When you walk into a room, people should notice. They should be wondering where you've been, what you're thinking. When your name comes up, it should feel like lightning in a quiet sky. You want that kind of effect? Then stop making yourself so available. Go quiet. Show up when it matters. Make your time feel special, because when your time becomes a privilege, so does your attention. And when your attention feels rare, you can command a room without saying a word. Look, Machiavelli never said to focus on being liked. He talked about being feared, respected, remembered, and no one respects what's always there. No one fears what's too easy to reach. No one remembers someone who never stops talking. So train yourself. Don't reply to every text right away. Skip the meetings that don't need you. Let people wonder where you are. Make them earn your presence. Make them wait. Make them curious. That curiosity is where your legend starts, because too much availability kills the mystery. And mystery, that's where power begins. Being absent doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're ignoring people. It means you know how to move differently. In a world that's constantly shouting for attention, the smartest person knows when to disappear. You don't get noticed by being everywhere. You get noticed by being somewhere unexpected, by vanishing a little, by stepping back. That's what makes people feel your absence and start to miss it. Here's the strange truth. The more available you are, the less people value you. But the more they wonder where you've gone, what you're thinking, why you're not responding, the more powerful your presence becomes. That's the psychology of power. People chase what they don't fully understand. They respect what they can't fully control. They fear what they can't predict. And if you're always online, always reactive, always easy to read, you hand them all the control. So you've got to pull back, not to hide, but to take control in a quieter, smarter way. Think of a lion. He doesn't roar all day. He hides in the tall grass, calm, quiet, still. And because of that, he's even more feared. That's how you need to be. Because if you're always available, you're not powerful, you're just convenient. And people don't respect convenience, they use it. And here's the harsh truth. Once people get too used to you, they tune you out. Not because they're bad people, but because that's how our minds work. The brain stops valuing what it sees too often. So be unexpected, be calm when they expect fire, be quiet when they want a reaction, stay still when they try to push you. This isn't about being distant or cold. It's about being intentional with your time. Your attention should feel like a luxury. Your time should feel expensive. Your presence should be earned. Machiavelli wouldn't tell you to hide forever. He'd tell you to strike when it counts. Being unpredictable makes you powerful, and when people miss you before they even see you, you've already won. Next time someone expects you to show up right away, take your time. When they want a quick answer, hold off. If they call your name, stay quiet just long enough to make them wonder. Why? Because when you leave that space, they start imagining, they start overthinking, and that uncertainty can be more powerful than anything you could actually say. When you're not immediately there, people start to question themselves. Did I do something wrong? Why isn't he answering? Is he ignoring me? Yes, you are. Not to hurt them, but to remind them you're not always available on demand. You're not a toy. You're not someone who fixes everyone's problems. You're not someone to be walked over. You don't belong to them. You belong to yourself. And only those who truly respect that deserve your time and attention. Watch what happens when you step back from their lives. Suddenly their messages feel more thoughtful, their words carry more care, their tone gets more respectful, because now they realize they can't count on you always being there. You're not a given, you're not replaceable, and if you leave, they'll feel the loss. That's how true leaders carry themselves. That's how real power works. It's not about being available to everyone, it's about being valuable to a few. And those few should know how lucky they are. Your silence should mean something. Your distance should feel important. Your presence should feel rare, like it matters. Every word you speak should be deliberate. Every time you show up, it should feel purposeful. Every moment with you should carry weight. So pull away, go quiet, let the world keep spinning without you. Then come back, not to explain yourself or say sorry, but to remind everyone that you were never theirs to begin with. You are the storm they could never control. A man who's always around can be manipulated. A man who's always present can be measured, but a man who's rarely seen, hard to read, and impossible to predict, that's the man people fear. Being unavailable doesn't mean hiding. It means rising above the noise. It means not letting others set your pace. A sharp, strategic mind knows this. Sometimes power isn't in what you say or do. It's in what you withhold. Let others gather, talk, and try to figure you out. And you're not there, and that unsettles them more than anything you could have said. When you're not around, your influence quietly grows. People start telling stories about you. They start imagining you're stronger, smarter, more powerful, because they don't actually know. And in that gap between truth and mystery, you become larger than life. The more they see you, the more ordinary you feel. But when they can't reach you, your value skyrockets. You become the ghost in the room, the rumor behind closed doors, the shadow that shapes choices. Even when you're not invited, your name still carries weight, because real power doesn't shout. It watches, it waits, and then it moves with precision. That's something most people never understand. Being everywhere is exhausting. It makes you reactive. It makes you look desperate. But being hard to reach, that's a strategy. It gives you control. It makes people want more. It shapes how they see you. And in this world, perception is everything. Machiavelli understood this. When you hold back, people start needing you more. They get anxious, they obsess, they chase. And you stay calm. Not because you're cold, but because your warmth is rare. You don't hand it out, you make people earn it. That's how power works. A man who's always available becomes just another option, but a man who knows how to hold back becomes unforgettable. And here's the harsh truth: you have to be okay with being misunderstood, with being disliked, with people getting mad that you didn't show up. That's part of the game. Their frustration proves you matter. If you didn't, they wouldn't care. Your absence controls their emotions more than your presence ever could. So pull away. Be the guy who doesn't respond right away. Be the guy who leaves a little mystery. Be the guy who quietly exits without making a scene. And when you return, make it count. Make it sharp. Make it memorable. That's how kings move. That's how empires rise. That's how legends are built. Your presence should hit like thunder. Your absence should feel like winter. Because if people get too used to you, they stop seeing your value. So vanish. Let your distance teach them what your closeness never could. Let them wonder if they'll ever get you back, because when they don't know where you are, they'll start to feel you everywhere. That's the power of not always being available. It's what Machiavelli understood about presence. Don't be seen too often, but when you are, make it count. Stay out of reach, stay unforgettable, and never let anyone think they own you. Let your silence do the talking while the world spins around it. The truth is, people are predictable. We all want what we can't have. The more someone pulls away, the more others chase. So being hard to get isn't about playing games. It's about knowing your value. Think about it. The rarest things in life are the most valuable. Gold, freedom, respect, mystery. They're worth so much not just because of what they are, but because they're hard to come by. The same goes for you. If you're always around, always replying, always saying yes, you start to lose that spark. People stop seeing you as someone special. You become ordinary. And when that happens, they stop treating you like a priority. You either become something they need or just another convenience. People who are always there tend to become the latter, used, not truly valued. But when you make your time and energy harder to access, people pay attention. They start reading into your silence, your space, your choices. They assume you have purpose, options, power. It's not about being arrogant. It's about understanding that being rare makes you valuable. Scarcity drives demand. Demand fuels desire. And that kind of desire gives you influence. Most people are addicted to attention. They jump at every text, over-explain themselves, try to be everything to everyone. But when you do that, you become background noise. You lose your edge. But that's not you. You know better. You don't give yourself away so easily. You don't explain yourself to people who haven't earned your trust. You don't show up just because someone asks. You decide who gets access to your time and energy, and by doing that, you take control. Even in economics, what's rare becomes more valuable. Diamonds, rare books, limited editions, they all hold power because of how scarce they are. Use that same logic in your life. Be the guy who's not at every event. Be the guy who doesn't join every conversation. Be the guy whose presence is earned, not expected. Because when people have to work for something, they treat it with more care. If you're always available, people start treating your time like it's unlimited, like your energy has no cost. You've got to break that habit. And some people won't like it. They'll say you've changed, that you're distant or cold. Let them talk. That discomfort they feel, that's your power setting in. It means they're not in control anymore. You are. They'll try to make you feel guilty, pull you back into your old ways, always answering, always showing up, always giving, but you've moved on. Your presence is now something intentional. Your time is something they have to earn. Your silence isn't a weakness, it's a tool. Because when people can't reach you so easily, they start remembering everything about you. They hang on to your words. They replay your vibe in their head. They start imagining what you're thinking, what you might do next. And that's what makes you unforgettable. Not because you're loud, but because you're rare. And in a world where everyone's trying to be seen and heard all the time, being rare is the most powerful move you can make. So stop making yourself too available. Stop over-explaining your decisions. Stop draining yourself just to keep people happy. Every time you pull back, you create space. And in that space, people start to notice your worth. You're not disappearing because you're weak. You're stepping back because your presence is too powerful to be constant. Let them chase you. Let them wonder where you are. Because when they finally realize you're not just another person, they'll treat you like the one they should have never taken for granted.